Welcome back to the Run Radio podcast. My name's Trina, and we are thrilled to be partnering for this fantastic event coming up. It is called the Joe Rickman Memorial Concert, and this is going to benefit kids that need a wish. And Allie Hutsell is a performer here in the area, and you are going to be doing a concert amongst several others. Please tell us about what's going to be happening that day.
Yes, I'm so excited. So Michelle is one of my very best friends, and she is Joe's wife. And Joe was a huge fan of not just not just our music, but just music in general. He loved, especially live music. He loved live music, and so she thought she wanted to do something, go big or go home. She wanted to do something that would honor him, honor the things that he loved in life. And I don't think he ever maybe missed a few gigs that we did over in recent years, but he pretty much tried to make it to every single one. And he would always sit there with this grin on his face. And he was such a great fan and supporter, and both in music and just in life in general. So this is exciting that it's benefiting, Make-A-Wish here in Southwest Missouri and Kansas, that chapter. And when she started talking to me about it, I was like, let's go.
Yeah.
I'm all in. So let's do this for Joe, and let's do this for those kids.
Springfield, Missouri, and the surrounding area is just such a compassionate force. Everybody is always rallying around anybody that they love, or even that they don't know. And I
Yes,
love how, from what I've heard about Joe, how fantastic and what a big personality he was, how giving he is, and
definitely.
how this concert is going to be keeping his name and energy alive, but also giving back.
Yeah.
Because Michelle was telling us how there are so many kids that need a wish, and it takes something like, is it $10,000 plus to grant a wish?
It does. It's $10,000 to grant a wish. So our goal with this event is to be able to provide at least three wishes. So we really would love to bless three families with being able to grant their wishes and make them come true.
And that's going to stay right here in our area, if I
Right here
understand right.
in,
Yeah.
yes, in southwestern Missouri area, absolutely.
And the
Which makes
cool,
it so much cooler, I think.
yeah. And even further, musicians, artists, bands were all like, all right, how can I help? Let me get
Yeah,
involved. And
exactly.
you were one of those. So do you have kind of an idea of how you expect the night to go? Can you kind of set that up for us so we can kind of get excited about it?
Yeah, well, I know that Michelle is a genius networker in business, and she trains people how to do that. So she thought that she would open up the foyer, like the lobby area in front of the shrine, offer opportunities for people to set up some booths and do like a little expo thing there. So there'll be like a little expo hall when you come in, so you can kind of do a little perusing, and I don't know, who knows, maybe a little shopping. I I don't know what all they're
Can't
going to
hurt.
have, what the vendors are going to have. And then I believe that I can't remember the exact time the doors open, to tell you the truth, but when the doors open, they'll come in, and there's VIP tickets and tables that companies have reserved for their people that want to support us. And so they'll see those in the floor in front of the stage. The tables will all be on the floor, and then there's going to be general seating in the stands, in the more bleacher type, well, not bleacher, but the shrine,
Right.
stadium seating. And then I'm not real sure, we're still working on all of the details with the agenda for the night, but I think Kyle Rickman, that you already interviewed, our sweet Kyle, he is also one of my vocal clients that I've worked with, and he's going to open the night and talk about his dad because he's Joe's son.
Hmm.
And he's also one who was a recipient of a wish being granted, he and his sister Sarah. So I think the audience is going to be really moved to hear what he says, and his testimony about all of that and his music. And I think he's going to kick everything off for us that night. And then we've got 6 other acts that are going to be performing that night. So we have Gary Turner, um, who I'm excited to meet I've never met him. He's not somebody I've known, but I know that he has uh, impacted a lot of the community with his Frank Sinatra vibes in his music. He loves Frank Sinatra, and I know he's going to be doing that. And then I think we're going to have Brian Pitts
Mm-hmm.
on, and he's amazing. He's a good friend and fellow musician here locally that I've known for a while, and went to rival high schools with Joe, which is kind of cool. And that was just when we lost Joe, he reached out to me and he was like, "Is that the?" He was trying to put it together in his head
Yeah.
which Joe that was, and so it was kind of neat that we made that connection, and then
Mm-hmm.
he was able to then, get to know Michelle and all of that. So we were like, he's got to do this. It'd be so
Yeah.
fun to have him involved. And he's got quite a following and is amazing. And then we've got Isaac Kenneth, who everybody knows Isaac Kenneth here locally, the handsome cowboy, the hunky cowboy, I think is a lot of the retirement home ladies refer to him as the hunky cowboy. He'll be coming, and he's my longest running vocal client. I've produced him since he was 16.
Oh
So
my.
over 10 years. We've been working together, and I produced both of his album and his EP, and so I'm super proud of him. And he does more of a classic country vibe. So far we've got Kyle does some pretty like chill throwback songs, like he does oh gosh, I can't even think all of a sudden, like a kind of a Hall and Oates vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then just very chill, James Taylor-y, kind of chill as Kyle. And then we've got the Frank Sinatra stuff, which is more jazz. Then we've got Brian Pitts is like kind of like me. He's a little more rock and roll, and also does some Hall and Oates vibe stuff as well. Then we've got Isaac Kenneth with the more classic country vibe, but he also does more current stuff as well, but country.
Yeah.
And then let me see, I don't want to leave anybody out. Let's see, how
Yeah.
many is that?
I think
It's a
you
lot to
covered
think about.
everybody except your top client,
My top, well,
Gracie.
yeah, she's definitely not my client for sure. I never coached her. I've never
Oh,
coached her. I wanted to
oh,
be mom. I wanted to wear one hat with my daughter.
oh,
And so I don't coach her, but she's learned indirectly by watching me coach since she was itty bitty. And yeah, she is a singer-songwriter, uh, professional dancer, performer ever since she was
oh,
boom, I think. She used to kick my stomach. And I gigged until I was 9 months along, and she would literally kick the back of my guitar in time. So I knew she was going to do something
oh.
musical. I didn't know what all it would be, what the Lord would bless her with as far as her giftings and talent wise. But she just dropped a song that is in honor of her friend Gavin Veer, that tragically was taken from us last summer in a car accident here in Rogersville. And she wrote the song about him, but it really is for anybody that is walking through loss. And last year we had a lot of it in our circle, in our
Mm-hmm.
little, family circle, and Joe was one of those. Was the uh, he was the first one of the group of people that we lost in months apart. So, yeah, it was all such big losses. And so she dropped that January 25th. And so she'll be doing that single that night called I Know This Boy. But she'll be actually doing her very first solo set. And then she will introduce the band, and Allie and the Cats will take the stage and join her. And then we will close out the night with it's just going to be a party. We're going to rock for Joe. That's what we're going to do.
Good.
Um,
Great.
yeah. So we got all kinds of different music in there. Oh, I forgot we have a bluegrass band.
Okay.
That's going to be performing as well. So there'll be bluegrass, there'll be all sorts of different styles of music. So there's really not anything for this event that I think somebody wouldn't be satisfied with
Yeah.
their musical preferences or taste, which is
Music lovers will be satisfied for
yes.
sure. Thank you so much for sharing. Before we close, what's one of your best memories of Joe? and maybe the
Oh,
family that kind of
yeah.
stands out? I'm sure you
Well,
have so many, but
I do, but that's not a very hard thing for me because Joe was Big Joe. I mean,
yeah.
he was a big dude. And he was called Big Joe. That's what people called him, Big Joe. Um, but he would come to our band concerts. Um, and at the end of every single concert, it didn't matter whether I was with the band, that was his favorite. But when I was even doing solo gigs and duo gigs with Gracie, he always would sit out there and go, Barracuda, Barracuda, and he'd holler Barracuda. That was his favorite. He loved Heart. He
Oh,
loved the band Heart, and he wanted me to do Barracuda. And I love Ann Wilson is one of the artists that I truly enjoy covering her songs and the band Heart. And so we would always do Barracuda for Joe, and he'd get this huge grin on his face, and usually would record it on his phone and
oh,
post it on his Facebook page. Um, and yep, just for me, he'd say just for me, and he was right. So even to this day, when we do Barracuda, I always send it to Joe. I do.
awesome.
It's always his
Awesome.
song. Yeah.
Looking forward to it. Thanks for sharing your
Oh,
gift for a great cause, rallying the community together for this. Everyone, if you
yeah.
still want to get tickets or get involved, please head over. Facebook's probably the best place, but there's also the website, Joe Rickman Memorial Concert.com. Thank you so
Yes.
much, and we'll see you then.
See you then. Bye-bye,
Thanks.
guys.
Be sure you're following along at runradio.net.